You're about to listen to TADPOG. Tyler and Dave play old games. It's a comedy video game podcast. We would like to stress that the hosts are not experts and are really just very crass commentators. Seriously, this is an explicit podcast that happens to talk about video games sometimes. So please enjoy this pretty okay podcast with Tyler and Dave.
Hello, Internet.
Hello.
Man, I've been waiting all day to do that. It's like, I can't wait to get over to Tyler's and do that.
Is that right? Yeah,
it's true.
It looks like it's true.
It's true.
Welcome to TADPOG. Tyler and Dave and Ian play old games. Today, we're just talking about the ripest gem, virtual Bart.
The most unplucked fruit.
The most bruised grape.
The most unnetted ham.
Most tinned ham? Yeah, virtual Bart.
Virtual Bart.
Curtis
Yay.
Soar Simpsons series saga.
It's Simpsons month, y'all. Did you know that? It's Simpsons September, October.
Simptober? No, that doesn't sound right at all.
Simpsons September. Sure.
Yeah. Spooky season, as the old folks say.
So before we dive into the virtual sphere, what you guys been up to?
Did you know that they're bringing Frasier back?
Yes.
I just found this out the other day.
It looks very weird.
It looks weird.
Looks super weird.
Tell me about it.
The commercial had me kind of chuckling a little bit, though. It was like, I don't know. It might actually not be terrible.
What
It's
looks
on
weird?
It's on Paramount
Okay.
Plus.
Uh-huh.
And
Like, it's coming out on Paramount
yeah,
Plus? Okay.
yeah. And he's moved to Boston.
Yeah, he's back in Boston.
Okay.
to be with his son, his grown son.
Okay.
Although Frederick is not weird. He's totally normal.
He's just a dude, yeah. And somehow
I don't know how that's possible.
and Frasier is somehow more neurotic than ever.
He's the neurotic version of his dad to the normal beer and pretzels version of his son.
Yeah.
So it's the inverse of the Frasier formula.
Yeah. So, and that's really all there is to it. I mean, it's more of the same, just in Boston.
Widescreen
And with a
format?
completely different
Are they doing
cast.
4:3 aspect ratio?
It's widescreen. Yeah. But anyway, I just thought I'd ask. I figured if anyone would have heard, you would have,
I
Tyler.
did. I was just like, I don't know. There are no familiar faces, at least not in the previews.
So it's just Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah. Which
As far as I can
Kelsey
tell-
I like
Grammer.
him too, but that supporting cast on Frasier.
That's what made the
is
show.
what
They did.
does
They
make
really
it.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said,
No Niles is that's a big.
Is
I
that
bet-
confirmed? Like,
I mean,
bet he'll make
he's
a
not in any of the
cameo.
previews.
Man, they're probably gonna-
hopefully, yeah, he does.
they're probably going to do that shit where like there's a revival of a show and like each episode, like a supporting cast member from the
Oh,
old show shows
yeah.
up. Which
BB Newworth, everybody. Yeah. Woo.
I hate that because it always
I do
feels
too.
so like manufactured and like
really
which I mean
does.
obviously it is. It's a sitcom,
Yeah.
but at the same time it's like I just kind of like it when everybody's together and you like interact.
I want to get to know the people I'm going to have to watch every week if I'm going to commit to this
that
show.
weird Arrested Development season
Yes.
where every
Yeah, that's definitely one of the shows that I was referencing in there. But it's not the only one guilty of that.
yeah.
No, definitely not. Let's see. Tried to fill up the hole this week a little bit.
Yeah,
Nice.
good. Stretch it out.
That
It's
hole
shrunk
filled.
down. It's too tight now. You got to loosen it
I
up.
gotta loosen it up. It's just like a virgin.
Get stretched.
It's the very first time.
That's what Chris Black and I used to call it. We go out for lunch and eat a bunch. We call it get stretched.
Ooh, that tracks.
And we'd ask people if they want to come get stretched with us.
And if they said yes, you then
We'd
wouldn't-
go and get
you'd go
stretched
and get
together.
stretched together.
Usually at Los Amigos.
That does happen when you go there.
It's easy to get stretched
Get
at Los
that
Amigos.
good stretch at
Put
Los
that on a
Amigos. Get stretched at Los Amigos.
All those amigos.
More than 3.
All those friends. Okay, so a little bit of everything. the Ahsoka season finale happened this week. That was high recommend for me.
I remember you mentioned it.
I'm going to reiterate.
I'm surprised it's over already.
My 4 stars. It's only 8 episodes. It's so short, and they leave you hanging.
Yeah.
They will leave you really wanting more, like a good beefy cliffhanger. And so, again,
All right, Ahsoka, that was a wonderful battle. Now it's time for our orgy. Cut the credits.
God, I wish. There are a lot of lovely ladies in that show. Anyway, I stick very much to my 4-star guns there. Wiz and Sage says, check it out. Only Murders in the Building season finale happened. That was a unbelievably good season because it started out kind of weak, in my opinion, and then it got really strong really quickly and stayed strong. It was just a little bit of a different formula than the last 2 seasons, which is good. They mixed it up. But again, another solid 4-star show. For anyone that hasn't picked up on it yet, it's on Hulu. Give it a watch because it's Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez at their finest. It's good stuff. Another show I watched on a goof, The Continental. This is the Continental, as in the John Wick Continental.
Oh,
It's
okay,
the hotel
yeah.
from John Wick.
Okay, I saw a thumbnail for that.
This story, this is a 3-part series. Each part's about an hour and a half long, which is the origin story of of Winston, the one that runs the Continental in the John Wick movies.
Okay. Not the gorilla from Overwatch.
Not yet. He might be in the finale.
Be pretty nice.
I don't know.
Crossover.
It could be nice. This is how Overwatch starts. It begins in the mid 70s, in mid 70s New York, and then somehow question mark. Step 4, Overwatch.
It needs to happen. I'm ready for that Overwatch
I'd love to see
NSFW
that
to make a return.
John Wick Overwatch crossover. But anyway, this one I thought, okay, this is going to be a pathetic cash grab. This is going to be it's unnecessary. We don't need it. No one asked for it. It's on Peacock. But I was totally wrong about that. It has been excellent.
Cool.
The last part, by the time this airs, the last part will have happened. But so anyone interested can watch all 3 parts as of the time of the airing of this episode. But we watched the first 2 episodes last week, and Tanya and I were both just hooked immediately. They keep the flavor strong. They keep it interesting. The entire cast is good. The action is plentiful and awesome, just like John Wick. They keep it's that universe. They keep the style the same. It's very, very well done, especially considering I thought it was going to be kind of just another cash grab without any real substance. But it's very, very much worth the watch.
Cool.
4 more stars. Wiz and Sage says, check it out.
12 goddamn stars.
So far, we're still going.
Okay.
I started watching Jujutsu Kaisen on Crunchyroll.
It's a big one.
I've enjoyed it so far. I'm only about maybe 10 episodes into season 1. I put Psycho Pass down for a little while, not because I don't like it, just wasn't scratching an itch for me. I wasn't in the mood.
Wanted to change it up.
Just wanted to change it up a little, so I switched over to this because I've been wanting to watch it for a while. Pretty standard stuff, but if you like Demon Slayer, if you like My Hero, and it's done by MAPPA, so it's got that MAPPA feel to it, Chainsaw Man, Attack on Titan, all those things.
What's
Hell's Paradise?
What's the premise? I don't know what the premise is. It's a wildly popular anime. I have no idea what it's about.
So the whole thing centers around. This is just another good versus evil kind of deal with this one guy who didn't know. what he had. He just happened. The main character happens to be super strong. He's super strong just naturally. Like, and then at one point he encounters these what's called curses, and they're these creatures, demons, whatever you want. They're curses that normal people can't see, but they create problems and havoc and chaos all over the world.
Okay.
And there's this group of sorcerers that originate from the Jujutsu high school in Tokyo, and they are trained to fight the curses and to fight. And there's this one king of all curses, and the names of these characters and things elude me.
King Shit of Fuck Mountain.
But in this case, he is
That's
King
King
Shit
Curses.
of,
King
funk,
Hippo
of
#2.
Fuck Mountain. But I can't give you all the names, but that doesn't really matter. So the king of all curses, who was more or less defeated several centuries ago. One of the things that happened was he's got 4 arms, and all of his fingers were removed from his hands and scattered around the world, and those fingers power curses in some things. And at one point, they use cursed magic to protect schools and things like that. So if you protect a place with a really super strong curse, then weaker curses can't come in to affect the school or the students or the patients in a hospital or
but it's
something.
still cursed.
It's still cursed, but it's just an object. It's not like an active like curse that can do anything. It's a cursed object as opposed to a curse.
Okay.
A cursed creature, if you will.
So these so the cursed can't like spawn there.
Right, and generally the fact that this is there's this one school where the hero goes, the main protagonist of the show goes. It's a regular school, but outside the school in a small box about 30 or 40 yards away from the building is one of these fingers of this king of all curses. And so it's a really powerful curse, and when there's a really powerful curse at play, lesser curses won't come on the property.
Okay.
Like they'll stay away. But it also has the unfortunate side effect of attracting curses to it. It's a strange dynamic. But anyway, at one point, this kid and 2 of his friends are in this. They have a club, which is like the ghost club or the paranormal club or whatever. And he gets wind of the fact that this cursed object is there on campus. So he finds it and gives it to this girl who opens it. And meanwhile, one of the people from the Jujutsu high school got wind that this is about to happen. So he's trying to get to the school to stop it. And it's too late. She opens the finger, and a giant curse spawns from it and threatens to kill them all. But this dude, the main character, who is super strong and has no fear and he has just lost his grandfather, and the last thing his grandfather said before he died was take care of people or help people that need help, and so he took that literally, and so he goes and tries to fight this thing, and in the process of fighting it, he like punches it in the gut, and the finger flies up in the air, and he eats it. He gulps it down. Well,
Sorry, reflex.
he eats it, and so now it turns out he is a vessel. He didn't know any of this, but he's a vessel that's capable of containing a curse. And so he stops the bad attack and saves his friends, and then the guy that had come to fight to deal with this to begin with says, well, we got to take you back to Jujutsu high school because you need to be executed immediately. And he's like, well, fuck you. I'm not, fuck you.
I just ate a gross finger.
Fuck you, in other words. Yeah. And he's like, so then they work it out, though. They determine, well, if he's capable of handling any of this king of all curses they've been looking for all this guy's fingers forever, trying to get it all in one place so they can destroy it.
Fingers.
It's 20 fucking fingers.
If you count thumbs, are we counting thumbs?
Yeah, we are. And so they decide they're just going to use him to eat up all the fingers. But as the first one he eats, he's now inhabited. He now shares his body with the king of all curses.
Okay. And
so from time to time, it will come out of him and inhabit his body. Sometimes it's like talks to him as a mouth on the side of his face. But sometimes it'll take over his body and just at some point he gets hurt and has to make a pact with the king of all curses. And the king says, I'll keep you alive. And here's the deal. And he sets out his terms and they accept. And so now he's got this guy in him who is working through him to try to get back. But the kid can contain him without effort. He can just like revert back to his normal self at any point. So they don't understand why he's so good at this part of the job. They don't know why he's able to do it for such a utterly powerful curse. So anyway,
so what happens when he eats more fingers?
He gets more powerful. Well, more the demon, the curse inside of him gets more powerful.
That's what I would think.
But
At some point, we eat 20 fucking fingers. Like he's probably gonna become the
That's
curse
the
king.
idea. And so the school has made the deal with him. It's like you can stay alive as long as you are helping us consume and contain these fingers.
But once you become the curse king,
once you get all of them, you're going to be executed. And he agrees to that.
It's a metaphor for work culture.
Yeah, it is. But he agrees to that. And so that's kind of the deal. He's hunting down all these.
Well, how can they kill him
fingers.
once he has all of them?
Good
That's
question.
the logic, probably.
Good question.
Sure, you can kill me. Wink, wink.
So I think this came out in 2019, and the third season, the most recent season, just wrapped. So I'm sure we've still got a long way to go before we find out, what that is. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the banter. It's got these weird little asides at the end, like so many, especially the Shonen Jumps titles are fond of doing. They'll have this little tag of some random. There was one point they were all together and one guy was showing off his ability to hold his phone between his face and his shoulder while he was on a call. It's like, I bet you can't do it. And they all started trying to do it, and they all one of them dropped their phone and broke it. It had nothing to do with anything, but it's just sort of to be expected.
Sure.
It does sort of serve to break the tension because it's dark. I mean, it's not a. They try to. It's lighter than I think it's lighter than Demon Slayer. No less violent, but I think there's more of an air of. It's kind of like the way Chainsaw Man is super dark and scary and what the fuck, but they keep it light,
right? With the slice of life moments and stuff.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that. But yeah, I do. I recommend that one. So far, I've given it a solid 3 stars. I'd say check it out, and anyone that's watched it wants to talk about it, let me know. I'm always on the Discord. I got one more thing. We watched this movie at random the other day that came on. It just happened to come on. It was a horror film called Bitch Ass.
Sounds great so
and
far.
It was basically this. There's this house where this old lady lived with her grandson, and she died. And there was rumor that they had all this money and stuff in there. So this gang leader dude in the neighborhood, he's like a legacy gang head of the gang, recruits his new recruits to go and rob the place. But it's rumored to be haunted by Bitch Ass, who is this dude who was bullied a lot in high school, but he loved games. He loved all things games. And so he even dug himself out a game room when he was a kid, and his grandma let him have a game room that was like a dugout basement. but he was bullied and bullied and bullied, and then became this murderer. And if you go to the house, you know, his whole deal is he'll catch you and force you to play a deadly game of something like Connect 4 or Battleship. But they're like, Connect 4 is like a giant wall-sized board with big wooden pegs, and the final round, you use your hands, and there are like guillotine blades up at the top, and if you lose, you get your hands and your head cut off.
I bet that doesn't happen.
I was laughing so hard because, you know, a lot of times, especially these types of sort of low budget movies, horror movies, just have the worst acting and the worst everything in them. And they're only good to make fun of. This one I actually liked a lot. And I thought that the dynamic and the dialogue between the people no one in it is anyone you recognize. But I thought it was the dialogue and the stuff between the people was awesome. I thought they really put on kind of a believable show. And it kind of surprised me.
I'm interested.
I would watch it. I recommend Bitch Ass. I do. I'm giving that one a solid 3 stars just because it surprised me. And there's an inevitable appearance at the very end by Tony Todd, aka the Candyman, who is like in this case he's like the role of kind of a crypt keeper, telling the story of Bitch Ass, you know. But he's the only one in the movie that like even slightly was familiar to me. No one else in the movie was, but I do recommend it. It was a fun watch, and we found Tanya and I both were like, I was like, that was actually not bad, right? And she's like, no, actually it wasn't bad, you know. So it's funny, it's silly, but I think they pull it off, and I actually hope they make more because I think this one has especially the name like Bitch Ass has the potential to be a franchise, a low budget but good cult classic franchise.
The setup reminds me of Tales from the Hood, which, like, when you were talking about like a haunted house and a gang like shows up, I'm like, this sounds like Tales from the Hood, which I fucking love.
It reminded me of Tales from the Hood. It was one of those kind of movies, except it wasn't an anthology.
Sure, and that's I love anthology movies, but like this when you were
an
telling me about
extended
it,
version of one of the anthology stories from Tales from the Hood.
That's what it sounded like.
It rings to that. It rings that exact same bell, and I thought I loved it. Right now I don't remember where we watched. I think it was on like Showtime or something. It's out there somewhere.
Cool.
I don't know, but. Yeah, it was, and it's pretty recent. I want to say it's probably maybe 2019, 2018, something like that. If I had to guess, I didn't think to look, but yeah, Bitch Ass, check it out. Wisdom Sage says check it out. I've talked a lot, and I'm done talking about my week.
How about you, Dave?
Back on Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now that Sea of Stars is done. When I talked to you guys about it last time, I was like, yeah, I got finished with the game, and I'm only like 55% trophy completion or whatever. By the time I was actually done, because after the credits, I decided to go ahead and do some stuff. And once I did that stuff, it really started to fill that out to the point where it's like, I've only got one remaining outside of like the ultra, like you unlock this by unlocking all the other trophies. And when I looked at that one, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that right now. Maybe later, but I'm not going to do that right now. So I moved on, back on Baldur's Gate 3 a little bit, but then I started playing this game called... So I follow a VTuber named Vebe, and she does collabs and is in a relationship with a guy named Soda Poppin'. And
I've heard of Soda Poppin'.
He was playing.
Didn't he do a bunch of GTA? I think he was streaming those. You know how they did the GTA mod where you could role play,
Like the RP stuff. Yeah.
I watched him do a lot of those.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with Soda Poppin'.
He was playing. She shared a clip, I guess, of his where he was playing this game. This happens to me a lot. I'll see a game being played on a YouTube video or a short specifically. It's usually a short. And it's like, because it's like a clip from a stream or something, I have no idea what the game is that they're playing. So he was playing a game and it was like, it looked like this first person dungeon crawler, but with like action mechanics. And it had like this map at the, like a mini map that looked like a drawn like dungeon map with like grid style. And I was like, okay, that seems really cool. So, I check the comments on the short. I'm like, okay, I don't see the name of the game. So I do a search for him because I'm really curious. I'm like, what is this? So I do a search for him on YouTube, find him, go to the videos, scroll through until I find the game. I was like, oh, okay, here it is. And it's a game called Dark and Darker. I'm like, all right, Dark and Darker. So then I searched that up and I'm like, okay, they got into some legal issues, so it's not on Steam. Okay, all right. Okay, if I want to play this, it's $30, so I got to buy it on a sketchy looking site. It's like
the best way.
All right, sure. I haven't done this in 25 years. Sure, this is how shit used to be done, I guess. If you're not buying it on like some like physical media. So I bought it and I started playing it, and it is a pretty interesting game. It's one of those where it's like, I do like this, but it is hard to recommend to people because while I do like it, I also don't like it because it's super hard. What it is, it is a dungeon crawler. A first-person dungeon crawler, but it's like a fantasy style. Oh, this is hard to explain. It's like a fantasy style FPS. You're in a dungeon with other people, and you're trying to collect as much treasure as you possibly can in the dungeon. And eventually, these portals will appear, and if you get to the portal, you escape the dungeon, and you get to keep everything you got. If something kills you while you're down there, which will probably happen, you don't keep anything. So you're fighting not only against the monsters and traps that are down there, you also have to contend with the other adventurers that are down in the dungeon with you. So it's got this battle royale feel to it in that regard.
Okay.
There are different classes. So there's fighters and barbarians and rogues and rangers and wizards and warlocks. I think that's all they've got right now. It's an early access thing. They're still working on it, so who knows what it's going to look like by the time it's done. They just did a patch today that for like balancing and stuff. So it's really cool, and it's got battle royale style. It has rings, where it's like the safe area of the dungeon gets smaller and smaller as time goes on. It's like a swarm of like insects essentially that kind of like forces you all together. It is brutal. It is brutal. I've only played for like 4 hours. I think I picked it up Friday night or Saturday night when it's like, I kind of feel like trying something different. And, I went through all the trouble. Like the game looked cool when I first saw it, and I looked it up, and it's like $30. That's not crazy. But yeah, it is hard, man. But I think a lot of it is I really want to play a rogue because like that's interesting to me. That's how I want to do it. And I feel like the class is limiting because it's like they start with daggers, and it's like they're clearly like, even like when I go online, they're like, okay, these are the worst weapons of the game. And I was hoping for a little bit more. I was hoping it would be a situation where it's like I can build a character that can stealth through a dungeon. I think that would be great. But the way it works is like as you're playing as a class, that class levels, and you can put, as they level, they gain ability slots that you can pull abilities into. And that stuff carries over, so you don't lose that stuff. And there are things where it's like you can give the rogue better hiding capabilities. You can give the rogue stealth eventually, where like while they're hiding, they can take 10 steps, which was like, that's GM stealthing in UO. But so I have a feeling like once I play more and unlock more of those abilities, that it hopefully is going to get easier. Right now, it is fucking hard. It is hard. And maybe I just need to try some other classes too. It's really built for like you go in with a party of people, but there's also this dungeon, like this goblin cave, where you can just solo queue. So it's like you and 6 other people go in.
Oh, okay.
I guess it's kind of like training wheels. So I don't know.
What'd you say it was called again?
Dark and Darker.
So, according to Wikipedia, if I may,
yeah, please.
on February 16th, 2023, it was reported the South Korean video game company Nexon alleged that Dark and Darker had similarities to an ongoing development of a game that was tentatively titled P3 internally.
The band from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
The snacks you can buy at Walmart with nuts and cheese. It alleged that P3 assets were leaked onto an external server by Mr. Choi, also known as SDF on the Dark and Darker Discord, project team leader for P3, and latter suggested to their teammates to quit Nexon and work on a game similar to P3. Mr. Choi was fired in August of 2021 and was part of half of the 20-member P3 project team who would subsequently join Iron Mace. Iron Mace was founded by Terrence Park Sung-ha, also known as Terrence on the Darker Discord, in October 2021, who is also the P3 project on the P3 project team. Since the disbandment of the P3 development team, the core of the development work was reworked into another tentatively titled game, P7. Iron Mace denied the allegations, stating that the game genre could not be copyrighted and the game was created from the ground up using Unreal Engine assets and handmade code. Blah, blah, blah. Cease and desists were issued. It was taken off of the Steam store. And then in 2023, earlier this year, Iron Mace requested Steam to reinstate Dark and Darker back on the store, claiming that the copyright infringement claims by Nexon were meritless. So,
yeah,
that's the backstory to Dark and Darker's current legal issues.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll get back on Steam. I was worried that it was going to be, since it wasn't on Steam, that it was going to be hard to get in matches and stuff. No, it's been very easy.
That's the kind of thing that gains a lot of attention, I think.
Yeah, maybe it did it.
There's no such thing as bad press, in other words.
And hopefully it gets back on Steam. That would be nice. But yeah, I mean, I haven't played in a party. You're constantly playing with other people, but I haven't played in a party. I think that would be more fun. It's got proximity chat, similar to like Phasmophobia.
Okay.
I haven't run into anybody who's used it.
Who's using it.
But I do see, like in YouTube shorts and stuff, people are using it all the time. And it's like, well, I wonder if like that's just like, if they're just doing it for content, or if that's just the high level of play is like you use it. I don't see this being like I don't see this as a thing I'll ever be good at, but it's definitely been a fun thing to kind of fuck around with.
Yeah.
It is an interesting concept.
The rogue can you can give the rogue pickpocketing. I don't know if you can pickpocket monsters. You can definitely pickpocket other players. That's one of the things I saw people using proximity chat for. They're like, bro, come here. And then, they start talking and like they're stealing shit from them while they're talking. And it's like, I don't know if this is real or not, but I mean, it's obviously happening in the game, whether or not it's scripted. So it gave me, in that regard, it gave me like shitlord UO vibes kind of deal. And it's like, although honestly, like when voice chat's involved, I don't think that that's like a bridge too far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To like trick somebody by actually speaking to them. It's like with your voice as opposed to typing something. I don't know what the difference is, but
it does feel like it would be worse somehow.
Yeah. And then I've been watching an anime called Bastard with 2 exclamation marks, which I love this anime. It is a 2022 anime based on a 1988 manga, and it shows because it feels like a 1988 kind of thing. It's like it's horny as fuck and like unapologetically so, and like it gives, when I watch it, it gives me vibes of like I should be watching this with Frankel, because like we would at Apex in like the fucking like late 90s, early 2000s. He and I would huddle up in your office because you had a TV in your office
and a couch.
Yep, and a couch, and we would watch all these fucking like. He introduced me to all this shit from like the late 80s and early 90s that I had no idea about. So I've thought about him several times watching this. It's a story about this. There's this evil wizard who was defeated 15 years ago, set on world domination, and he's defeated by the high clerics of the kingdom of Metallicana.
Oh, I love it.
And they seal him away. They seal him away inside of a boy, and the high cleric teaches his daughter how to awaken the soul of the wizard in the boy if the kingdom is ever in trouble. And 15 years later, that happens. And this all happens in the first episode, so it's not like major spoilers or anything. It's just a setup. 15 years ago, she has to awaken the boy, or awaken the dark wizard, the evil wizard inside the boy, and she does so. And then it kind of all goes from there. The story kind of goes from there. The evil magician named Dark Schneider, which I don't know what it's like in the dub, but in the sub, it's like, I swear to God, it's like 40% of the dialogue is Dark Schneider, because it's like constantly, they convey so much with this name, like Dark Schneider, and it's like the translation in the sub is like totally different. It's like, oh, you're awakened.
Where are you watching this?
This is on Netflix. Which
that's right. You told me about this, and I forgot you had said it was on Netflix.
It blows my mind that it's on Netflix, because it's like I'm watching it. And it's like, man, I know they got Castlevania on there, which is violent, but it's like, man, this fucking evil wizard's like touching boobs and butts in like every episode, and it's like this just doesn't seem like. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm out of touch with Netflix, but I've seen.
Well, they had that cutie show, so I don't know. That's why I don't have Netflix.
What is it? Cuties?
Cuties.
What's that?
What's that?
It is a.
It
'Cause
sounds
I
like
heard
a
about it.
child pageant show.
It is.
Is
it's
it?
it's like a dance thing.
It's almost like a pro pedophile. It's really fucked up.
I didn't
really fucked.
I didn't watch it, and Netflix had to take it off.
Is it a documentary?
It's kind of a documentary style show, from what I understand.
It won a bunch of awards at Cannes, which I've also heard is kind of a pro pedophile like event.
The film festival?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
It's more of a. It's more
They
of
just
like,
show the last 20 minutes of Little Miss Sunshine. Like on loop.
well, it
It glorifies like 12-year-old girls like trying to be mature and dancing. Like Shoe on Head, the YouTuber, does a really good breakdown of it, because she was like, I've heard about this. Here's my watch and review. And she goes for 20 minutes, and she's like, this is fucked up. Why is this on Netflix?
Yeah.
So fucked up that they removed it.
They did. It got a lot of negative attention, and they were under a whole lot of pressure, and so they took it down. It was not on for very long before it got taken down.
Yeah, that's the first. I'm really out of it.
Yeah, it's been a little while. It was during COVID that this all happened. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Because it was on Netflix, Melissa wanted to, and I agreed. We just dropped Netflix.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah, fuck that.
Let's save some
We don't want to
money.
contribute. Fuck that, and we'll save some money.
Yeah. Well, Bastard is on there.
Yeah.
And I do like Bastard. He does solve a lot of his problems by seducing the women in the anime, which is another one where it's like, it is straight up like there are scenes in this where it's like, this is definitely from a late 80s manga for sure. And they've animated it modernly for a modern audience. And it's like, I love this, but I cannot imagine that because I know where I know where it's coming from. Like it has that feel, and it's like this feels like something that I loved and also doesn't exist anymore. It's so novel to see it now. I'm curious how it's like viewed through like the modern lens from people who like haven't seen the fucking shit that I've seen.
I haven't seen this type of thing in 40 years.
Yeah, I mean, it starts up like in the intro. It's like it gives all the content warnings, and it's like, holy shit, that's a lot of content. Nudity, violence, sex, and sexual violence. Okay. And then like that one goes away, and it's like, oh, also photosensitivity for like flashing. It's like, all right, man, we're fucking like getting in our time machine and going back. Like there's a scene where it's like the I wouldn't say the main character, but like one of the main supporting characters, like she gets kidnapped and like thrown in a pit, and Dark Schneider has to go and save her. And like it takes him a while to get there. It's a ninja castle and it's super far away. So like while she's in the pit, like the ninja leader is like, yes, we'll torture you by embarrassment. And it's like, oh boy, where's this going? And he's like, I have a slime that eats only clothing. It's so fucking stupid, but it's also like, yeah, this is what the shit used to be.
I have added it. I've added it to my list on Netflix.
It's what this shit used to be, and then it's like, yeah, over the course of 2 episodes, he's like Dark Schneider's fighting and shit, and it's like there's interstitials where it's like, yep, that slime sure is eating your clothes, isn't it? And then it's like the slime's got eyes right inside of it, so like when it gets through like her shirt, like the eyes are like over her nipples. It's so fucking stupid, but like it's that, I don't know, man, it hits that tone that like I just haven't seen in a really long time, but I cannot imagine that it is being received well. But who knows? Maybe
It's got 2 seasons on Netflix. I just saw that.
So
the
it
first
gets
season's
one
pretty
more.
long.
So-
Yeah, maybe.
If we're lucky, right? Zom 100's on Netflix too. I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that.
I didn't realize that either. I know Zom 100's on hiatus right now,
I noticed.
which sucks.
Yucks.
But yeah, there's also like the creator of Bastard, the manga, was a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons, and so that would have been like 2nd edition. So it's got a lot of that flavor to it, and he was also a fan of heavy metal and rock and roll. So there's hard rock. So there's a lot of like the 4. Here, I got them. The 4 kingdoms of the nation. I fucking love this shit. So Meta Lacana is one of them, which is Metallica. There is Judas is a nation, Judas Priest.
Right.
My favorite, White Snakey. And then Iron Maiden.
Oh my God, this is actually going to be right up my alley, I think, because I picked up on the Metallica thing when you mentioned it earlier.
There's a dragon familiar in it named Lars. I mean, it's like
God,
at one point, like the spells, like there's a spell, like every time a spell's being cast, I'm like, oh, I haven't seen this one yet. What's this one called? Megadeth. It's like, yes. There's one, literally, he's like, he counters the spell by going, Guns N' Roll. It's like fucking Guns N' Roses?
Yes.
So, yeah, man, it's fucking cheesecake. Like 1000% cheesecake. It doesn't take itself seriously, but at the same time, it's a great ride. I think it's a great ride. And it's like, yep, I'm enjoying this ride. And just the last like 4 nights, I've just watched it until I fall asleep and then, have to like wake up and be like, okay, did I
Run it back.
Did I see this one? No. Did I see that one? No. Yeah, run it back. So yeah, it's been fun. I like it. That's kind of it. That's kind of it for me.
I've worked. It's pretty much all I've done, and except for one evening
For virtual Bart.
For one evening, virtual Bart, I did the day. Trust me, I put in enough time.
Girl,
but one evening, Melissa really wanted to watch. She said, "I'm gonna watch a scary movie." That's what I really want to do.
Please tell me you watch Bitch Ass. Please tell me you watch Bitch Ass.
Well, if I would have known about Bitch Ass, I would have watched it. So I just pulled up like what's on Hulu. Top horror movies on Hulu right now. Number 1, Hellraiser 2022. Okay, we'll check it out. So watch Hellraiser 2022.
How was it?
I liked it for the most part.
Is it a remake of the first Hellraiser?
Or it's like
Or
a
is it a continuation?
re-envisioning.
It's like it's a requel.
Okay.
It's kind of it's more Clive Barker than the first one. It's way more like his things that he's into. He's very into bondage and
Right.
and fetishes like domination and leather, and that's the whole thing that Hellraiser's kind of based on.
Sure.
is his erotic
Sure.
fantasies. But they take it to another level in 2022 version. They got away with a lot of it in the original Hellraiser from like the 80s.
Which is the only one I've seen.
And it gets a little bit more, intense as the sequels go on. They're all pretty good. I can say that's a pretty solid franchise, but 2022, it came back with a little fire.
I mean, I like the rules and the different levels they had for the Cenobites and what the cubes and stuff would do.
Man, I hate that they're called
and all that.
Cenobites.
yeah.
Like that is just one where it's like, it just sounds like a little Cinnabon.
No, I'm pretty sure Burger King had Cenobites at one point in time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's the main, the one that Pinhead is a female in this movie, as opposed to in the originals. Pinhead was a man. It's good. It's good. I'm glad you.
I liked it. Melissa, the scene at the very, very end, Melissa was like, "That was unnecessary. That was fucking stupid. I'm out. Fuck that." Because the last 1 minute, she was like, "No, fuck that," and walked out of the bedroom.
Didn't make sense, or was it something that was too intense?
It was kind of dumb looking.
Oh, I see.
I liked that
the
it was
Scorpion King showed up.
I would have liked
followed by Brendan Fraser in Chase.
I assumed what was going to happen, but then they just went ahead and showed it. It's like,
Gotcha.
well, that would have been better implied, as opposed to they just looked sort of weird and they showed it. I don't know, but all in all, I liked it okay.
Cool.
So yeah.
Oh, there's something I forgot.
I'm sorry, Dave. We're out of time.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh well,
No,
no.
we're
I can give you some more. I got a little more left.
The developer of Guess the Game reached out to me. Do you guys know about Guess the Game?
Mm-mm.
Did you mention this?
No.
I don't know then. It sounds familiar for some reason.
You may have heard about it on the Discord, because I found out about it, I think, through Big Dick Pie Baker Chris Vaughn, during COVID, I feel like. It was. Well, I mean, technically, it's still during COVID, but,
we've
in the beginning
we've mentioned COVID twice. We can't mention it again.
Okay. Well, shall not.
or it comes back.
It's like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, right. I got my flu shot today.
I gotta go get mine.
I got a skin TB test, too. I hate those.
But Lauren Boebert comes and gives you hand jobs if you say Beetlejuice 4 times.
Beetlejuice, 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 Beetlejuice. I saw that video. It was hot. So the developer of Guess the Game, which is Guess the Game, he reached out and said, "Hey, I love the podcast. I listen to it on the commute each morning." And he was essentially like, "Let me tell you about Guess the Game." And he does in the email. And I'm thinking, yeah, man, I love Guess the Game. It's like Wordle kind of, but instead of trying to guess a word, you're trying to guess a video game based on screenshots. So it's like you see one screenshot and it's kind of like the most obscure one, right? Or it's like zoomed in or something like that. You just cropped a little bit. And you can make a guess or you can hit next. And as you have 6 tries essentially, and on the last one it gets progressively easier. So on the last one it's the easiest screenshot.
Okay.
I just thought it was I wanted him. He asked, would you mind mentioning it? And I said, of course not. I love the game. I think it's really cool. I know I'd heard about it through the TADPOG Discord. So I recommend that you check it out. I'm not being paid to say that. But I mean, I wouldn't be objected to it. but I'm not. It's cool and it's free. And there was a time back when I was playing Wordle, essentially, or around that time, where I was playing this every day. Very cool.
All right. Yeah, guess the .game.
Yep, that's it.
If you want to play today, I'm looking right at it. There's a new game coming in 4 hours, 15 minutes, and 57 seconds.
It's cool. I don't know how he does it.
It is neat.
But it's a really neat idea.
Okay.
And I feel like they've gotten harder because I remember when I was originally playing them, I felt like I knew what the games were. And now, I don't know if it's by design, but now I'm finding it to be a little bit tougher.
So now that we've mentioned Guess the Game on our show, I feel like he needs to make the TADPOG logo one of the puzzles.
But no one would know what that is.
I don't care because they would all zoom out, and eventually it would just show the TADPOG logo, and people would say, "What's that?" And then they would come check us out.
They might. Hey, that's better than nothing.
Which is what we got now.
Which is what we have now. Correct.
Cool. That is neat. I like it.
So thank you for letting me say that.
Yeah.
I meant to mention it first, and then.
And thanks to him for reaching out. I think that's really neat.
Yeah.
We're always happy to plug an interesting or fun thing.
Yeah, especially when I thought it was really cool because it's like, oh, you listen to our show? I know your site.
That is neat.
Yeah,
well, that's kind of where I was at. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I love shit like that.
That's awesome. Thanks for listening to the show.
Yeah.
By the way.
And one where it's obviously not like, because we get a lot of comments that are blocked on the WordPress that's like, on the Return to Superman episode 12 or whatever post, we'll get like a comment, I enjoyed your insightful commentary on this topic. You know, we're just like, so like generic and like, obviously written by a bot.
Clearly written by a bot. Yeah.
Well, which comment? Where we're talking about Superman's mullet? Or
Well, do you guys want to do a draft?
Sure, man. We're going to draft. Have we done the Simpsons characters draft yet?
It's funny you mentioned that. I was literally thinking about that last night, and no, we haven't. And I was thinking it's fucked up that you bring that up because
you were just
I was
about
literally going to mention that as an option, but I want it to be non-Simpsons characters. Nobody that is a part of the Simpson family.
Right. Okay. The extended Simpsons draft. Shit, I'm not prepared for this. I don't know why I suggested it.
Yeah, name two numbers.
1 and 2.
Dave?
5 and 6.
All right, I'll have 3 and 4. 3, me.
And I mean Simpsons characters that don't live in the house. No Homer, Bart, Marge, Maggie, or Lisa.
No playable. Well, Maggie's
members of the
Well,
Simpson family are allowed, just none
Not in the
that
house.
are in the house.
Grandpa's
And that-
allowed.
Grandpa would be allowed. The Danny DeVito, Homer's brother, would be allowed. Snowball and Santa's Little Helper are allowed.
Okay, so
None of the human Simpson family that live
house.
in the house.
Okay.
I won't probably pick any of the ones. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to eliminate the 5 obvious ones.
Sure.
Then I will claim Krusty the Clown.
Nice.
Top spot.
Hey.
A great choice.
Dave.
I'll go with Principal Skinner.
Good pick.
Yeah, I like Principal Skinner.
Now, Principal, like Skinner or... I'm trying to think of his real name.
I can't remember it. I can't remember it either.
I might have to look it up because it's bugging me now.
But that episode, I
Wait,
remember
what was the question?
the Skinner's real name.
Oh, Armin Tanzarian.
There it is.
Armin
Armin
Tamzarian.
Yeah, that episode, man. I hated that episode when I saw it the first. I remember seeing that episode the first time and being like, I hate this.
I loved it. I loved it. It didn't matter that it was just. I don't know. I loved it.
But that was. I felt like that was kind of like maybe not a first for The Simpsons, but I feel like up until that point it was a little more grounded. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That one was like this
This is what they're doing now. Okay.
Which, I mean, I think it led, like, after that, I think it led into some really good things, for sure. It was just jarring, I think, the first time I saw it.
Ian, number 1.
Duff Man.
Nice.
Duff Man.
I love Duff Man.
Not
Specifically,
wasn't on my bingo card.
specifically as let me clarify. Hold on, because yeah, it's Duff Man. It's Duff Man. Just Duff Man. I was thinking of something else. I love Duff Man. I love that character.
Yeah.
I love how he'll just randomly show up and start like thrusting his hips, and he's got beer on his shoulders. It's the funniest. It always makes me laugh every time.
No, Duff Man's great. Duff Man's great because, especially when you're not expecting Duff Man. Like, Duff Man used in, like, a sad moment is hilarious, always. You know? Like,
Well, and that's one of the reasons I picked him, because he just shows up at random, like you're never expecting him.
yep.
Duff Man has a doctor's appointment and needs to leave. You know, I love that shit.
Then my second one, I have to grab Abraham Simpson.
Phew. I thought for sure you were going to pick mine. I love Grandpa Simpson.
I wore an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time.
Dave, number 2.
Troy McClure.
Damn you.
You might remember me from such films as
Ian's Draft. God, I love Troy McClure.
Yeah.
Ian, number 2.
I want to make sure I get his name right. Gil Gunderson.
Oh, Gil's great.
Oh, Gil's about to hit it big. If I just sell one more house, I'll make it. I love him. He reminds me of like a comedy version of one of the old dudes from Glengarry Glen Ross, you know, just that old driven guy, you know. And there's been like one episode where he was the main character, like it was kind of his story, where he like lived on the Simpsons couch for a little while and stuff because Marge took pity on him. And yeah,
He reminds
I
me-
love Gil Gunderson.
Like, if there was a live action Simpsons movie, I would want William H. Macy cast as Gil because of who he played in Fargo. Like,
Yeah, he would be a good old Gil.
Yeah.
Well, in the dude, I'm thinking that I truly believe he was modeled after was Jack Lemmon, which he's passed, but
Right.
still, that's who I think of
Sure.
as Jack Lemmon every time. Oh, Gil's about to win this draft. All I got to do is get 3 more good picks, and I'll be at the top. I'll tell you, I'll finally get what's coming to me.
Number 3, I've got to grab Moses.
No, is on my list.
Last one. Damn it. Some homie dissing your fly girl. Give him one of these. Fuck, man. Like, that was locked in my brain. Like, it was like, Mo's next.
Uncle
Mo's
Mo,
next.
here I am. Here's your fries. Eat them.
Oh, fuck. I'll go Sideshow Bob then.
Oh yeah,
It was between those two.
I'll go Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, it was It was very much because I nearly gave him number 2, but I was like, there's more Mo there. I'll get Sideshow Bob next. So we exchanged.
Groundskeeper Willie.
That's a
yeah.
good one.
I love that
Man.
guy.
I love the episode where Santa's little helper gets in the school vents.
That used to be out.
It's like
Alien.
Yeah. God,
And then he
it's
goes
so
in after.
good.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I fucking love that.
It's a grease me up woman.
Yeah.
Covers him in lard, and he's just like crawling through. All right. Oh my! And you just see that.
Run
You
by.
just see that
The blur.
blur,
God damn it.
and then
I
he
love
ends
it.
up like squipping
Falling
out
out of
into
the-
the gym in front of all the children.
The shinning.
Quiet. Do you want to get sued? It's the shinning. That was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to start watching that show again. I have to.
Number 4, I got to pick Dr. Nick.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Dr. Nick.
Yep. I can't hear "Hey, everybody" said in like any kind of tone and not think about Dr. Nick.
Here's the secret. Take it, rub it on a piece of paper. If the paper turns clear, it's your window to weight gain.
Man. I'll go Mayor Quimby.
Good choice.
I'll go Mayor Quimby.
I feel like my next pick is 2 people, but it counts as 1. It's not what you think,
Oh.
although they are on my list as well. Rod and Todd Flanders.
Yes.
I love Rod and Todd. They're the ones that have they're the family that has the board game you have to play before you can get video game time. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Bringing in the sheaves. They're just so innocent
Yep.
and brainwashed.
Uh-huh.
But God, every so often they make me laugh. I knew kids like them.
Oh, yeah,
growing
for
up,
sure.
and it's just
Absolutely.
it's so on the fucking nose.
Yes.
That's why I love them.
Surprised I'm getting it number 5. But Mr. Burns.
Oh, fuck.
Burns.
Yeah.
Mr. Burns.
I'm surprised. Yeah, that's a number 5 pick. Yikes.
Solid.
I should have been better prepared. I'll pick up who I thought you were going to say, Kang and Kodos.
That's not who I was gonna say. But
I thought
that's
you were going to
another.
say Sherry and Terry. So.
That's not who I was gonna say either.
Patty and Selma?
Yes, it was Patty and Selma. Although that's interesting. We went through that whole list before we got to Patty and Selma.
Uh-huh.
Not my next pick, though. My next pick is Rainier Wolfcastle.
Yeah, for sure.
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.
Nothing.
God, I love Rainier Wolfcastle. I love the
Mendoza!
Holy shit.
Honorable mentions.
Oh, I could go 10.
I'm sure we could go higher than 10, but then we'd also run out of time.
Well, that's true. Honorable mentions, easily. Patty and Selma. I got Ned Flanders, Mrs.
Yeah.
Krabappel,
Yeah.
Smithers, Professor Frank.
Yeah.
And Hank Scorpio. That's probably one of the best
Yes.
episodes ever.
God, Hank Scorpio is great. I
That is a great
completely forgot
episode.
about him.
Grimes.
Yeah.
Frank Grimes.
Old Grimy. Trying to think. Michael Jackson. Bleeding Gums Murphy.
Bleeding Gums is a
Yeah.
good one. Yeah.
Oh, who's the one that sells the monorail?
Well, it was Troy. It was Phil Hartman did the
Oh, okay.
voice, but it wasn't. He was just a. That whole thing was based on the Music Man, and I think he was just playing that role of a traveling flim flam man, trying to take them for their money.
Comic book guy.
Yep. Otto.
Otto. Crazy cat lady. She's always good for a laugh.
Bumblebee Man.
Bumblebee Man.
Hans Mole Man.
Yes.
Fucking Homer's buddies.
Barney.
Barney and Lenny
and Carl.
Lenny and Carl's another inseparable duo.
Mm-hmm. It's a good draft.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Hell yeah, it was.
Appropriate. Take a
Yes.
break, get some game talk.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
Some virtual Bart.
God, I
Hell
can't wait.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Our computer lab actually has a computer in it.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Super Nintendo Chalmers. Meow. I'm learning.
Aw, way to go, Ralph.
Ah, she's a beaut. You can't beat a Coleco. How many can I put you down for? A lot? Please say a lot. I need this.
I don't know. I'm not even sure we can keep this one. It's up to Lisa.
What do you say, Lisa? Will you keep our little secret for the good of your classmates and your school?
And let's not forget old Gil, huh? The wolves at old Gil's door.
I guess I don't have much choice.
Oh, thank God. Now let's talk rust proofing. These Colecos will rust up on you like that. Shut up, Gil. Close the deal. Close the deal.
And now for the game talk.
Game talk. Hello.
So, Virtual Bart.
Virtual Bart.
Second
Video game.
of the Simpsons series sequel to Bart's Nightmare.
I have
Third of the
notes.
series.
Oh, it's third?
Because we did Krusty's Super Fun
Oh,
House.
you're right. Okay, yeah, third.
This one is
Damn.
actually feels like a direct sequel to Bart's Nightmare.
It is.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have notes today. When we get to the good and bad, I'm going to go good and bad on every single one of these little games.
Oh, all the mini games.
all the mini games.
Yeah, like Bart's Nightmare. This is also a mini game collection. This was also developed by Sculptured Softworks and published by Acclaim. This one came out, I think, in 1994.
I believe it was 94.
1994.
Yeah. So it'll be 2 years after Bart's Nightmare.
Yep. As far as I know from my research, nobody quit
No one
this
quit
the
the
time,
video game
right?
industry because of this game.
And you
Like
can
they did.
tell because it's a lot like the previous game.
Yeah.
You can
So
tell
everybody
a
who
lot
already
of-
got off the ship got off the ship.
Right.
Well, the box art. What did you think when you saw the box art?
I mean, it's nice box art. You know what I mean? Like,
It's that same
I didn't think it was
thing.
as nice as Bart's Nightmare.
No, I
Bart's
agree.
Nightmare. I like Bart's Nightmare actually a lot.
I like the box art for Bart's Nightmare is better, I think. But I mean, everything was on model. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
yeah,
like,
it still had that Simpsons curb appeal that's
Yeah.
going to get your attention and make you want to grab it up when you're a kid and play.
I still again don't think I would have known what this game was about
Yeah.
based on the box art. I mean,
100%.
because it's Bart like with a virtual head, virtual
Oh, can you
reality
see the
headset.
aliens again? Is that what the
So,
glasses
right.
are?
Oh boy, yeah, they took a real gamble on that, right? They didn't stop and think, will kids think that this is Bart versus the Space Mutants again?
They might have stopped to think about it and then just said, fuck
it.
What do we
They're
care?
going to buy it anyway.
Yeah.
More cherry bombs in the toilet coming around. All right, it's fine.
They should remake that game. They should remake Bart
Yeah.
versus the Space Mutants and like
As a gritty, dark survival horror.
anything is going to be better than what they made. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like whatever.
I think also a remake of Virtual Bart for like the Oculus, where you just are wandering around Springfield and being a part of the community.
That would be very
That would be
cool.
awesome.
That would be
You could
very
You
cool.
could just go to Quickie Mart
Yep.
and,
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's one of the things that's cool about Hit and Run is like them rebuilding the
love
city and
Hit and Run.
yeah.
Classic. Easily the best Simpsons game ever made, in my opinion.
It's a really good one.
If you were to compare your experiences with this game to a movie, television show, celebrity, etc., what would you compare it to?
The movie I picked this week is a little movie from 1977 called The Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh, I've never seen this. I've heard about a bunch of it, but never seen
This
it.
movie is a collection of shorts basically spoofs like TV and movies at the time, and pop culture and politics at the time. It's early Zucker and Abrams spoof parody type stuff. Think Naked Gun, Airplane, movies like that. This is a comedy anthology. One of the skits is called Catholic High School Girls in Trouble. And I picked it because, this game is like that in these seemingly random, non-cohesive, mini games that you have. They're all just put together because, The Simpsons. We can just do that. And I always thought Kentucky Fried Movie is one of those that I don't recommend you watch, but you should watch it. It's just one of those. If you want a real look at what people thought was funny in 1977, that's a good way to do it.
Man, I will say this because a few episodes back,
and it ages better than Revenge of the Nerds if you're worried about it.
I wasn't, but that's good to know.
Yeah.
A few episodes back, you mentioned watching Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it. And I didn't finish it, man.
Yeah, it's not good.
But that's what it reminds you saying that it's like what it's a thing of its time for sure.
It really is.
And because Nikki and I were watching it, and I mean, it was like I gave it like 4 groans, man.
Yeah.
It's like 30 minutes in. I'm like, I don't think I could.
No, it's funny because of how dated it is and what they thought was so hilarious and cutting edge, and that made me laugh, and that made me stick with it because the parody part, when they would show like San Francisco and it would say Paris, France or something, just shit like that was I always thought that was really good, but I'm not ever going to watch it again. I might watch Kentucky Fried Movie again now just because I was thinking about it today when I was writing my notes, and I don't recommend it, but I think it's fun. It's a fun one. And plus it is shorts.
Yeah.
So you don't have long before this one's over.
Right.
If it's really bothering you, you've got something else coming. And again, it goes to that sort of Zucker and Abrams Naked Gun kind of comedy. You could see the foundations of what would ultimately become classic, movies that you just can't ever say bad things about because they do survive. They survive, and this one not so much, but it's still fun to watch. But yeah, it's just the weird amalgamation of shorts and funny things, that they put together. That's why I thought about the Kentucky Fried Movie as my pick. So,
and that's not to say that I didn't like anything about Attack of Killer Tomatoes. That gag where they're all crowding into that like small tiny office to have their meeting.
The conference table is like the size of the room.
And they're all like they're all crammed in there.
Yeah.
That's actually that was very, very funny.
It hit. Yeah.
Dave, what'd you pick?
I chose Jeff Fahey, who we all know
from The Lawnmower Man.
From The Lawnmower Man. He played the cyber god in The Lawnmower Man, because that is the movie I feel like that introduced so many people to virtual reality.
In the worst possible way.
In the absolute worst possible way. Some might argue that it's still hurting sales of Oculus headsets to this day.
I would believe it.
That movie's so fucking bad.
God
damn, that movie fucking
we owned
sucks.
We owned it.
But it was redeemed by the quality of the Super Nintendo game.
The game is so much worse than the movie that's really bad.
If I ever meet Pierce Brosnan in real life,
that's what you're gonna bring up.
I'm gonna be like, I loved you in Lawnmower Man.
God damn it! I hope you meet him.
I do too. And I hope that he laughs when I say it because he'll know I'm not fucking serious. We have that bond, me and Pierce.
Yeah.
We get each other in that way. He just doesn't know it yet.
I chose the television series Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap.
Because there are these different things you just get fucking thrown in, and they're all different and fucked up, and you don't know what's going on. And yeah, but
that's a hell of
what the fuck.
That's a hell of a comparison because that's super on the nose. I think you might win on that note.
You guys remember that episode of Quantum Leap where Scott Bakula throws tomatoes at a bunch of kids at school?
Or what about the one where he's a
probably an
baby that
episode.
swings through the trees?
Or raise a dinosaur.
Or a pig in a ham factory?
I do. I remember all of those.
Classics.
I watched the pig one today.
So you said there was an episode of The Simpsons where Bart vaguely tries harder in school for like one episode. Is this
Yes.
based off of?
This one does
A
not
gag
appear to be
Yeah, I don't know.
based on it. This is it's a science fair. You know, it starts off where Bart is walking. All it is he's walking through the science fair and gets picked as a volunteer to be in the virtual reality thing.
Which,
but
for
there's
whatever
no
reason-
episode correlation other than all the ones that had science fairs in them.
Yeah.
Is really all I could say.
And for whatever reason, the virtual reality exhibit involves a big wheel that they strap somebody on and then put a headset and then spin it.
Yeah, that's a virtual reality.
That's virtual reality. Didn't your Oculus come with one of those?
Hypothesis.
I have
of
like
this
3 of
experiment.
them in my house if you need one.
All right. So like Bart's Nightmare, but it's more straightforward. There's no street level you have to wander around
There's no
on.
hub
You just
world.
go one level after the other randomly.
That's randomly selected.
So out of 6 levels, so there's prehistoric Springfield where you are. What kind of dinosaur would you say he is?
A Bartlosauraptor.
Seems about right. A small Bart dinosaur, yeah.
Then there's one where Bart's a baby.
Yeah.
And this nonsensical adventure bouncing around town.
And that
Well-
one kind of has hints from an episode of
Yeah,
The Simpsons, a flashback.
Homer goes after the ice cream truck, and Bart tries to chase after him to get some ice cream.
I know the water slide because you're on the water slide going down and
Mount Splashmore.
having to maneuver that. I remember that episode. Yeah,
Yep.
level not as good. That's the episode it's named.
Not
It's after.
even close.
There's a level where you throw tomatoes at students trying to mess up picture day.
Right.
The pig escape where you're Bart as a pig trying to rescue the other pigs and get out of Krusty's ham factory.
Yep.
Ham, bacon, hot dog factory.
Corn dog as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about that. Hopefully, we're going to get in depth on some of these.
I've got notes on every one of
Yeah.
these mini games.
And then a
Let's do it.
post-apocalyptic Springfield.
The Mad Max version.
You want to start with that one?
Sure.
Sure, we can.
It's my least favorite.
Which I expected you to either be like, this one was okay because it reminded me of Road Rash, or they tried to be Road Rash and they fucking weren't. Fuck it.
Yeah. That's so, man, maybe it's a little early to say this, but I didn't like this game. What? And it is like this.
I'm with you.
Doomsday Bart it's like they tried to make Road Rash, and I get it's not going to be as good as Road Rash because you're essentially making 6 fucking games in
Right,
one. You know what I mean? So that means they're all going to be shitty.
Yep.
Yep.
You're gonna
Yep.
you're sacrificing
We're going to have
quality.
one really good game or 6 bad ones. Let's
Right.
go with the 6
WarioWare
bad.
is not. So,
Right, yeah. And WarioWare kind of embraces this is silly, you know, and it kind of like leans so weird that it's like even the WarioWare games that aren't like super fun are still charming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But with Doomsday Bart, yeah, it's post-apocalyptic Road Rash. And what made me frustrated was this could be a game. If like EA just got the Simpsons license and we're like, we're gonna do a Road Rash, but it's gonna be Simpsons characters. And,
Yeah.
sure, it'll be post-apocalyptic. This would be so much. This would be awesome. Like to see. I would love to see all the Simpsons characters in Road Rash. You
Of
know,
course, yeah.
Especially in '94, that would have been like fucking huge, man. But instead, yeah, you get
This level has more in common with Tiger Electronics Road Rash than it does Road Rash.
Is that a real thing?
It leans harder. It's got to be,
It has to be, right? Yes, but you're right. Yeah, because it really doesn't even matter where you're going.
I mean, there's a Symphony of the Night. Fucking
in a
Tiger.
Castlevania too. I had that one.
I mean, it is like that. The controls are impossible to understand. You're not really following the road. You're just riding.
It's the same like two cornering segments with skulls, rocks, and then guys coming up. It is 100% could be a Tiger Electronics. Do left, right, up, down as you see the things appear in the illusion that you're moving forward.
There was an old driving game that used to have it was a physical thing, not a video game, but it was this physical little console that had a fucking plastic car on a stick, and the road would scroll under it, and you would just steer the car like side to side. That was more fun than this.
Sure.
You could throw tomatoes or whatever the fuck at the other riders, Jimbo and Kearney, and hit them if they're in front of you. You had the option to try to hit them from the side as well, which was I could never get that to work. You could kick them.
They hit you just as much as you hit them. So.
Yeah,
yeah.
And they sprinkle popsicles around for you to build your health back up, and without it, you could not make it. This is one of the many times in this game where there is no way you can make it through without taking lots of damage because of the way the way the school bus comes at you just fucking out of nowhere.
Call back maybe to Bart's Nightmare.
Possibly. And
every Simpsons game we do has to have an unavoidable giant
a murderous auto trying to kill Bart.
And sometimes it would be like they would come so often that there would literally be two on the screen at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, there's only one auto and one school bus. Come on, at least time it better. And if
palette swap them, something.
Yeah, anything. If you were paying even the slightest bit of attention, then you see these little markers that count down from like 7 or 8 or whatever as you get closer to Springfield to kind of give you at least they sort of give you a little bit of a hint as to how far you've got to go. So that's something, I guess, that's good that could be said about that level. And again, I'm with you. I like the concept, and I think it could have been executed nicely as its own game.
I think it would have been great.
Yeah.
I mean, especially on the Super Nintendo, because it's like your options for something like this on the Super Nintendo are limited. Because Road Rash was Genesis, and it's like one of those where it's like, I feel like this could have been huge had it been like properly developed.
Have
and
they
releases.
actually done something?
Yeah.
Although this mini game is responsible for one of my good things to say about the game.
Okay.
Which is at the very end when you win the level.
I don't know what that's like.
I had to watch it.
Oh yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
Bart runs in, jumps on the couch, and then a very clear, sounds good, looks good, Krusty the Clown. Welcome, surviving children.
Hello, surviving children. Hey.
Yeah,
it was funny.
That was good.
The little cut scenes. I watched a long play of this. I did not. I played this for as long as I could, but knowing what I knew about Bart's Nightmare and coming into this and being like, holy fuck, it's more of the same. And I've got things to say about that, but I did watch a long play, which was 38 minutes. And the fact that that mad bastard that did the long play that I watched, I cannot even believe that it's possible to beat all of the things in this game, but he did it. And the cutscenes at the end of each game were cool.
Yeah.
They were funny. And there's one of my good. I have several good and bad things about the different games, but one of my overall good things is that there was a lot of good Simpsons humor in this game.
I agree, man. I feel like the cutscenes were all like nice.
Yeah.
I thought they all looked nice. I thought they sounded
amazing.
Really good.
The voice clips were clear and easy to distinguish who was talking. Like you said, Krusty comes on the TV. You don't see him, but you hear, hey, hey, surviving kids.
Yep.
And it was definitely Krusty.
And the humor is all, I thought, really good, but also like dark. And I know Simpsons got dark, but I mean, it's like
the pig one.
But
was dark.
The pig one's super dark, but I feel like it was just all dark. You know what I mean? And it was, so it almost felt like a Treehouse of Horror kind of, like
very much did.
Where it's like there's a lot of like very cynical humor, which I mean, again, I thought worked and I thought was really funny, but I was also just kind of surprised to see so much of it back to back to back.
This game should have been branded as Treehouse of Horror. I mean, it would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it would have made more fucking sense. Yeah. And they could have used that to call back to like Homer's time travel episode. Right. Stupid bug, you go squish now. You know, all that stuff could have been worked in there, and it would have at least felt more like a Simpsons. It's something they're trying to tie into what we know as opposed to what we're familiar with. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, for real, Treehouse of Horror would have been a much more appropriate game. And I think, honestly, it probably would have garnered a lot more attention. If let's say it sold 1 million copies, it would have sold 2 if it was called Treehouse of Horror. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's a thing we all know for, 38 years. We've known what that is.
Yeah.
So,
it's the vibe of this game. I mean, outside of like a few of them, I guess maybe, especially like the Doomsday Warrior one, Bart as a dinosaur one, Bart as a pig one. Like those are all like, those feel like Treehouse of Horror.
They absolutely do.
I attempted 5 of the 6 of these levels. Couldn't beat a single one. Did not have fun on any of them. As opposed to Bart's Nightmare, I could at least beat 2 of them and then get far or any of the others. These I thought these were way harder. I didn't get to the tomato throwing level. I couldn't. I got frustrated trying to get it to pop. So I just fuck it.
Well, while we're in mode 7, we might as well talk about the water slide, Mount Splashmore, and how. Again, I felt like it was a sloppy mess, just like the Mad Max episode or the Doomsday Bart.
What if Turbo Tunnel was the first person and even faster?
It was so
like
hard
Sonic
to
2
navigate.
Special. It's like the Sonic 2 bonus stage.
Yeah.
Where you're back behind Sonic and Tails and you're going to the half pipe. I feel like that's just what they did. They were just like, oh, yeah, let's do that. That thing that the thing people like the least about Sonic 2, let's do that.
And it was almost impossible to see how to get like your increasing time or your popsicles. There's no indication as to which like fork in the road you should take. It's a 50-50 shot, and if you get down the one where the big fat guy's stuck,
which is Homer,
it shits you back to right before the fork, and you got to go the other way, which causes you to lose time.
Yep. Or you just choose one that just ends the level. That happened to me, where it's just like,
really?
Okay, I'll go right. Oh, it's just black. Okay. Oh, and it's done.
Oh, I did not
get to that one. That's great.
Yeah, you could just choose. You just choose randomly the game. It'd be like, okay, you chose wrong. Level's over.
So best case scenario is you get that one where you don't have to play the level.
I mean, I counted it as a win because I was like, one thing that I do like about this game, and I know we're not to that point yet, but one thing I do like about this game is there's a practice mode.
Yeah, you took one of my good things there.
Sorry,
it's a requirement.
I wanted to mention it because it is a requirement. And Tyler mentioned, not being able to play all of them. And
I didn't fuck with practice mode at all.
That's all it is.
It just lets you play the games. It doesn't show like the cutscenes, and if you beat it in practice, it doesn't give you the reward. It just lets you get familiar with how to play the game the different modes, which I like.
I like that too. That's a big bonus.
It's a huge bonus. And I think they did that because they knew how badly they broke Bart's Nightmare. And they're like, okay, well, what can we do? I don't know, a practice mode where maybe we could see what we're getting into.
Right.
So, but at the same time, if you think about it, practice mode in the terms of I hated this mini game.
Right.
So what? I got to go play through it again to actually get anything out of it.
I have to get good enough at it to play through it in the regular game.
Anyone with half a brain is going to play through the practice mode and be like I was, and be like, no, I'm not even going to start the regular game, because that's what I did. I just played practice mode. I tried every mode, hated most of them, and said, I'm not even going to bother starting the game.
Yeah.
Because now there's consequences. I could lose my progress, and I'm not going through that on top of everything else.
Even on practice mode, I didn't get through a single game.
Nope.
I got like really, really, really like frustratingly close on one of them.
Yeah.
But I didn't finish any of them. And the one that I almost completed is Class Picture Day.
Me too.
And that's my favorite one.
Me too.
Even though it's still bad.
While we're in
I like
mode
the
7.
idea of
Yes.
it. It
Still.
looks like a creative thing to do for a mini game.
Yes.
It's not terrible.
I
Right.
actually liked the concept. I liked
Me
the
too.
aiming system. I thought that was neat.
Me too, but I wish you had more control over how, because, okay, the way it works is kind of honestly, Bart's throwing tomatoes or eggs at his classmates on picture
As
day.
they're crossing in front of the school, he's hiding behind a bush.
Right.
And you're throwing tomatoes. There's 2 parts to the stage: the tomatoes at first, and then the eggs.
Right. And there's an indicator on the ground that moves to the background, to the foreground. It's this horizontal line. Imagine it like you're essentially on a power meter, like in a golf game.
Yeah.
And wherever that lines up, when you hit the throw button, is where you're going to throw the tomato or the egg. It's the distance.
And then you can control the direction of the thing you're throwing after you throw it.
And I was only able to get it like extremely one direction or the other.
Yeah,
it
was extremes. There's no finesse.
And that's what I didn't like. That's
Yeah.
where it was like, fuck, man. This was like almost like good.
It was the one that kept me entertained the longest.
Yeah, same. But I wish that there was more finesse to left and right, because a lot of it just boiled down to waiting.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, I have to wait for this student to cross right in the center in order to hit them.
So, and the thing was too that like you should only. I was watching this long play and I was sussing out how this worked.
How they were doing it.
You could only, you have to hit all the kids, no adults,
Right.
And the kids, and you don't hit them more than once. You've got to try to hit every kid that's going to be in the picture, and if you splat them all, and they all get splatted in the picture, then you move to the next level, which is
Right.
the same thing, only with eggs on the playground, and the people you're throwing them at
Moving erratically.
move more erratically. And if you had a stack of tomatoes, and it was indicated up in the upper left-hand corner as your plate of tomatoes, which were a real high stack. And what I found interesting was you would only lose tomatoes if you missed or if you hit an adult. But if you hit a kid, it wouldn't take away from your stash. So I thought that was weird, but okay.
Yeah, that is weird.
And if you didn't hit all the kids, you didn't finish.
Right. And there's a timer.
And there's a timer. And there's no way to get more time in these, like with some of the others. You just have to practice and be good.
In the last stage, I got all of the kids but one.
God.
And I was like, as it's showing, because it shows the class photo, right? And then it goes blip, 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 and like puts
Over the ones you
tomatoes
hit.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it got all of them but one. And I'm like, that's probably good enough, right? Nope. No.
All or
I was like,
nothing.
are you kidding me? That didn't ruin picture day.
No, publish it. We're good. I'm so glad both of you guys say eggs.
Yeah.
So many people say eggs.
Eggs.
It drives
Yeah.
me fucking wild.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a hick, but not that much of a hick.
Eggs. Got some eggs.
I still say eggs. Moving on, we've covered.
I thought the pig level was going to be the worst after playing that. I was like, I don't like this. This has got to be the worst. And then I played the baby level. I was like, oh, okay.
Which one would you like to talk about first, the baby level or the pig level?
I'm fine with either. They're both bad.
The baby level is you are baby Bart from a far distance away. You can tell, and you are you jump out your bedroom window, and it starts out where you're swinging on tree branches like Assassin's Creed style, or around and around and around until you launch off and grab another branch. If you touch the ground, you die.
Yes. Well, you don't die. They make it. Bart says something when his head is under the ground.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I noticed that. I was like, did they do that because you can't kill a baby in a video game?
Well, in any case,
you do lose a life.
You lose a life. You lose a life is what I was implying there. If you touch any of the things, you lose a life. At one point after that, you got to walk on clotheslines.
Right.
And then,
that's as far as I got.
And then you end up after that.
Fuck! There's more.
Oh, it's
this
so
fucking
long.
thing is so
Oh my
goddamn
God.
long, dude. I was getting frustrated, and I was watching it on a long play.
The seals bouncing on the seals.
So there's
and then
like
the circus.
You go through the circus where there's like you go swing up shit, go through these rings, land on these trampolines. Again, the earth is lava, apparently. It's the part that I coined the phrase "that mad bastard" was with the seals. There's this fence going behind a house, and there's seals with balls on their noses, and
classic.
And they go behind the fence and hide, and you have to time your jumps and land on the balls, which bounce you. But as you're bouncing, the seal is dropping, and if you fall, you lose a life. And you got to time it. It is the most maddening fucking thing I have ever seen.
It looks
I can't imagine. I couldn't believe that this guy completed this shit.
The video also looked like he had to cheat to do it because some of those jumps did not look like they'd be enough.
We probably watched the same one. We probably watched the same one.
It looked like he missed the ball. He died on the seal once. And then again, it looked like he barely you're going to miss again. And then it shunted a pixel.
Because in the whole long
same
play.
for the trapeze. He's not going to make that. And then he just
yeah, you're
over
not,
when it clearly
we
missed
watched the same one because in the same long play, he died 2 times in the entire game, which were the hardest parts of it. I mean, even with cheats, I feel like there's just no. This one was the baby level was another example of you are not getting through this without taking damage.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A lot of damage. Yeah. At one point they have like these clowns standing up, more clowns by the way, standing on little poles that you're swinging up in the circus, juggling fucking bowling pins, and there's like 2 of them right next to one another, and there's no way to get around them without getting hit. So if your health is low at that point, you're fucking done. Yeah. You cannot progress. And it's the thing that I will say as one of my overall bad things was the fucking platforming levels of this fucking game were insanely long.
Yeah.
Way too fucking long. And like the dinosaur one, which we'll get to in a minute, that one never fucking I didn't think it was ever going to stop.
I thought I got close to the end, but there's no way I did. From the way you're talking, there's
I promise you didn't. And I just don't. This is one of those games.
Were you dodging burps in the dark?
Nope.
Yeah, because there's a whole segment where you do something like that.
Nope.
And it's not just
awful.
It's not just dark. It's black. You can't see fuck all. And when you do finally get up to the point where you can see fuck all, the air is radioactive and you just die if you don't hurry the fuck up and get out of there.
Shit.
It's awful.
Shit.
I mean, it is one of and again, I'm this mad having watched someone else do it. I didn't get close to the first into the first part of that dinosaur level or the baby level. I didn't even make it to the clotheslines in the baby level. I kept missing my platforms because it was never
the squirrels
clear.
fucking everywhere. It was
never clear where you could exactly land, and the actual solution to the problem took you way up here.
Right.
And
Well, that very beginning part of the baby Bart level reminded me of the "I Can't Wait to Be King" from Lion King.
100%.
Where you're like
the giraffe
baby
tails
Simba, and you're
shit,
like
yep.
swinging off the giraffe tails,
Yeah.
and like it reminded me of that, which is that's like
Absolutely.
notoriously difficult.
Yep.
And then and that game controls pretty well, like especially compared to Virtual Bart.
They
where
do
it's
that
like,
a lot in Lego
holy
games.
shit.
Lego games have a lot of that where you're swinging around a thing and you've got to time it to swing, and that controls well. And it's hard, but it's doable. This is horse shit.
Yeah, as shitty as the baby level was, at least there wasn't like a boss.
Right.
But the fucking pig level, on the other
Pig
hand,
level has a
though,
boss.
It has the stupidest fucking
lawyers.
boss fight. Like, I watched it, was like, what the fuck is going on?
It didn't make any fucking sense.
Because you go through the whole pig level.
Which in and of itself is fucking impossible.
Dude, the fucking pig level pissed me. Where the pig level lost me was I gotta find colored keys.
Yep.
That was like, fuck no. I don't like this kind of gameplay.
If you play Doom, it's a little like that.
But it's like, I don't know. It felt less like Doom. I get the color keys for sure, but like it felt more like a really shitty Metroidvania.
It did.
Because it's like
All
it's a
the
maze.
doors, yeah.
There's so many doors. You got to memorize. Okay, I go in this door. It leads here.
Most of the floors are moving.
Right.
Most of the time you got to jump up blocks that recede and come out of the wall. Most of it is blind leaps of faith that you just hope you're not going to jump to your death or back to the fucking beginning of that part. Oh my God, it was just horrible.
The frozen pig section is so
Sorry,
long.
I didn't make it there.
Oh my
So
God.
at this one point, it's like
clown.
a mini boss, and you go into this room where they are this machine. A pig is on a hook and goes into a machine and gets frozen into a block of ice, and it drops down, and you have to push the block of ice past this clown dude who's shooting an ice gun, and it lands on a platform, and then you jump onto a button which then shoots the block of ice up into a hook that's crossing above it.
So you got to time it for the hook.
And then it goes into the machine, and
like a
you have to
furnace.
do that like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, it's like way
That
too
sounds
long.
like the first boss in Earthworm Jim. And
A little bit.
New Junktown or whatever.
But you're gonna get hit like the guy's just walking back and forth with his ice gun, and
It takes forever. And
the
it's-
biggest chunk of the playthrough was that section
Yeah, it really was. It took forever because you can't walk
because I couldn't get
past
there. I couldn't fucking get
the
there.
ice pig block. You have to go over it. And if the guy is over here, he gets you. But it's also in front of like a platform that if you jump, you land on. So you've got to go over and up and around and down and
Oh my
walk
God.
past the thing to get to the block
Oh,
to
it's
be able
awful.
to push it. It's the worst shit ever. But then,
sounds
as
like the
if
worst
that
shit.
wasn't bad enough,
Mm-hmm.
you make it to the boss level. In the boss level, it is in an office.
It's the corporate office.
The corporate office, and there are 3 like lawyer types in there, and they just run at you and then get up on a desk, and then they flip down from the desk and run at you. And meanwhile, in the background is a big fat lawyer who's jumping up and down, knocking books off the shelf, and you have to
Maneuver them into the
maneuver
books.
them to get hit by the books as they fall.
Gotcha. Okay.
It
that
did-
sounds
I
like
was-
an interesting mechanic.
I was watching it though.
if you have a bunch of health.
It didn't make any sense at first. It took me forever to
I would not have
understand what
known.
was happening.
Had I actually gotten there, I would have had no clue what I was doing. Like you can't normally the pig you can jump on the enemies,
Right.
Except for the clown with the ice.
Right.
Yeah, the pig
You
kind of
can't
like
jump on it.
works like Scrooge McDuck from DuckTales a little
Yeah.
bit with his like pogo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which again, you don't. It's inconsistent because you can do it as the dinosaur on the rocks, and you can do it on these clowns. But then, if it's a boss, you just can't jump on. You just can't.
Except the final one, the final lawyer, The third lure, the one that was jumping up and down.
Please don't tell me you have to jump on.
You can hit. You don't have to, but you can hit him on the head.
It's hard to do, but he's still stomping and knocking books off.
So you have to wait and get him close enough so that then he stomps and a book falls on him, and after 3-4 books fall on him, he dies, and then you free the pigs and you get carried off into a rainbow by the pigs who are you're their hero now. Real bad.
No, enough. Like what I'm learning from this is like I didn't scratch the surface on like any.
Some of these levels are absurdly long,
and I feel like I did. Like I feel like I played them for a while.
They're
know what
so
I mean?
long that you would think that you would think if you made it, but you probably only made it a third to a half of the way through each one of these platforming levels. They were
Dinosaur Bart, Baby Bart, and the Pig Escape way too long, and the others were very short.
And then
do your level design a little bit better,
even it out.
The dinosaur level was much the same kind of thing. You know, it was probably the easiest to control, but
you got a tail whip, that was easy, and a jump, so you at least had 2 different options.
But if you got in range of Lisa's bow and arrow, you are fucked. Yeah. I mean, each arrow took a huge chunk out of your health bar.
Yeah.
And Maggie's pacifiers that she spits at you, and it's like, Jesus. I got killed by Lisa almost every time I encountered her, and it drove me to the point of I don't want to play this anymore.
I ran from as many of the enemies as I possibly could in Dinosaur Bart. Like, there are some where you can't avoid, I felt like.
Yeah.
Or if there's a way to avoid them, I didn't know how to do it. Like, at the end of the first section, Barney's blocking the exit, burping. I don't know how to get by him.
You hit him with your fucking tail.
Right.
That's it.
But if I could have avoided him, I would.
Right. And it just goes on and on. I mentioned the cave. It gets super dark. It's radioactive, and you die unless you get out fast enough. There's, of course, the ever-present ticking clock, which is driving you crazy. You can pick up popsicles for health. A lot of platforms fall out from under you. Sometimes you just have to keep moving, or else the good news is the platforms almost instantly regenerate, so you can get back up.
But what I found is
you have to get them off the screen.
You have to go off screen, which really sucks. Like, there was a segment I was trying to do where you're like platforming vertically up through like a lava tunnel.
Yeah.
And these boulders are rolling down.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you have like no room.
What would happen is you've got no room. So I'd get hit by the boulder and I would get knocked down to a part where it's like, oh, the platforms crumbled beneath me. I don't have the platforms anymore. Oh, I guess I have to like reset this whole tunnel by moving over one screen to the left and then coming back. And it's like, okay, I'm starting from square one.
Yeah. And a lot of that level was that way. There was one thing I didn't realize. You can get a screen clear.
Yeah, I read about that. Like there's a roar or something.
There's a roar.
But I never...
there's at one point where I don't see how you survive without it, because there is a Marge, a Homer, a Maggie, and a Lisa all attacking you on the same screen.
Jesus Christ.
I don't see a way to survive without it. And of course, the long play we were watching, this one was by Nintendo Complete on YouTube, by the way. I wanted to credit that. He used it there, and it's an insta clear. So... but they don't give you any indication. I don't know how he got it. I don't know if it's something he just picked up along the way that he stored up. There was no indicator because he used it again shortly after, but there was no indicator to say how many he had left or any of that shit. So I don't know. It was weird. But the final boss of that level was it was an interesting concept. You're on... You end up jumping on all these moving platforms across all this lava and stuff, and you end up on one final moving platform that goes back and forth between 2 stone pillars. One has Mo, I think, on it, and the other has Homer, and they're throwing shit at you. And then you got to tail whip the pillar and knock it down about 5 times on each side, and then you can attack them. And I thought that was a neat mechanic.
Yeah.
But getting to that point would be almost impossible for a casual gamer, or for someone who wasn't making a fucking career out of it.
Someone who's just a Simpsons fan.
Yeah, I am a Simpsons fan.
That almost, I'll have to watch that long play because that almost sounds like a Sonic Robotnik fight.
It
the two pillars.
might be. Yeah, it could be very derivative of that. I don't know.
I'll check it out.
I will say, so I picked on a few good and bad from each one of the mini games. I did have a couple of overall good and bads. I thought it sucked that like when you got extra lives in one of the mini games, they did not carry over to the other games. You would be back to your lives.
Oh, I didn't notice that because I spent most of my time on practice.
Yeah, you would go back to your lives count that you have when you're in the wheel, which, one of the things on the wheel would spin around, and if it was a skull and crossbones, you're dead. You lose a life just for fucking existing.
You could also gain one, though,
you could also gain a life. That's true. But I think they needed to just leave that out.
Totally.
There's no reason for it.
Any of these, like, oh, you lost a life due to chance. That shit sucks. Like the Mount Splashmore, that was really... I mean, I was playing in practice mode, so it wasn't the end of the world. But like, if I were
pure luck,
if I were playing the game proper, and it's like that happened, and it was like, oh, that was my last life. Oh, I just lost it by pure luck, like you said.
Yeah, and on the Nintendo Complete playthrough, at one point he had gained like, I think it was on the dinosaur level, he had picked up 8 extra lives. And then when he went back after he beat the level and went back to the spinning wheel, he was down to 3 again. So that was bullshit because you need all the lives you can get in this game.
Sure.
And then I mentioned the couch gag that Tyler brought up.
What are the good things that you guys have?
Funny. That was a good thing for me. The practice mode was a good thing. And then I've already touched on my good overall things. I like the sound clips. You could tell they were using the real voices of the real characters. Right. They were clear and concise. You could make out what they were saying most of the time. So that was my good. That's all the good I had.
I've already touched on all the good stuff. I mean, the fact that there's no hub world. I like the minigame intros. I like all the cutscenes. I thought those were nice. That the game felt like a Treehouse of Horror episode. And also, there's one thing that I haven't mentioned yet. In the Bart Pig minigame, if you get
I know what you're going to say.
Into Ham during that level, if you lose, man, you get greeted by like one of the most like, fucked up cutscenes that I've ever seen in a Super Nintendo game. The screen goes black and then fades into Homer in the kitchen eating corn dogs out of a box. And he pulls a corn dog out, eats it, pulls another one out, eats it, pulls a third one out, and it's shaped like Bart's head. And Homer freaks out and then eats it.
Yeah. when you're a pig and you get stuck in the ham machine, the little tin that you come out of as has little ears and little eyes on it. And I thought that was funny.
Yeah. It's fucked up. That whole like I thought the first time I played that pig level, it was like, this is fucked up. This is a meat process. Like this is like this is some dark fucking shit
it's a
right here.
slaughterhouse.
Yeah, because you're in there with like the pigs who are like trapped in like cells, and then they're also like hanging from hooks and like in nets and shit. And I'm like,
frozen solid.
Yeah, I'm like, this is more grim than a fucking Mortal Kombat game.
It really is.
Because that's like weirdly more cartoony than this Simpsons like meat packing.
It was
plant.
way worse than the mouse
like
traps.
Patton Oswalt's clean filth.
It's way worse than the mouse traps in Krusty's.
Way worse. And it's like, and the pigs are all scared.
They were like funnels of spraying blood away from having the fucking trifecta of what the fuck in that level.
I think that would have. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, there was no blood in it, but I'm shocked that they didn't just have it fucking pooled up on the floor and
Well,
people walking around with clothespins on their nose because it smells so rotten and awful. I don't know. It was like this. It was like Saw. It reminded me of the movie Saw in that way. There's a whole part in one of the sequels where their dead pigs are being dropped off of hooks into a vat and getting ground into a paste and about to drown a guy. Like one of the grossest things ever.
It's almost more uncomfortable that there's not like blood and stuff. You know what I mean? Because that would almost like weirdly relieve the tension.
Yeah, I get it.
It reminded me of the Patton Oswalt bit where he's talking about like how it's weirder to say like, I'm going to put my goof juice in your hoo-ha.
I'm going to fill your hoo-ha with goof juice.
Yeah. It's like that where it's like, fuck, man, if it were just like more real, I think it would be like less.
Yeah, at least then we aren't trying to sugarcoat it.
Right. And also,
it
I
seem
thought
like it's not what it is.
I thought it's hilarious because it's like this is like aside from it being like dark, but it's like okay, so in order to work at the meat packing plant, do you have to be a clown,
Apparently.
or is it just like
it's your uniform?
It's Krusty's idea of an employee uniform. Yeah, exactly. With makeup and everything.
Right,
It's
yeah,
not
the
just a
full
clown
thing.
suit. You got to have the
Pigs
full
can smell
makeup
blood,
on.
but can't see clowns. So you're fine.
So they're easier to shock with your shock poles.
Yep.
Well, how many bad things? What do we want to say about
I've
things?
covered all of them.
I think this is a graphical downgrade from Bart's Nightmare.
Really? I thought it was
Some of the
upgrade.
cut scenes I think are fine. I think the sound effects are better, but the actual plain graphics I didn't think were as
Really?
good.
I mean, I think that might come down to taste because it really, I feel like there's a difference for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in Bart's Nightmare, that felt more like an NES game on Super Nintendo hardware to me. And then Virtual Bart felt more like, oh, okay, we're actually going to like try to make a game that's more to the Super Nintendo, like the Super
agree.
Nintendo strengths. And they definitely,
It was more playable.
well, and they
Definitely.
utilized Mode 7 a shitload. Like
in 3 of the 6 mini games, they were mode 7.
yeah, and it's so I don't know. I think it comes down to because like honestly, like I almost said on our Bart's Nightmare episode that like this motherfucker looks like Bart versus the world. Like I mean, it looks like they took the sprites from the NES games and they were like, okay,
Yeah.
well let's just redraw them for the Super Nintendo, you know. Which that's not to say it's a bad thing. It's just it felt these two, feel very different graphically.
I agree with what Tyler said in that I do think, despite how much I hated this game, that it was an improvement on Bart's Nightmare in a lot of ways. It made
so.
more sense. It was easier to play. It was easier to understand what your goals were in like in the Bartzilla, where you just what the fuck
You
am
don't
I supposed
know.
to even do?
This is a way better game
here.
than Bart's
Yeah.
Nightmare.
It's
like, in my
definitely
opinion.
way
It's
better.
still a bad game, but it's way
Yeah.
like Bart. It put in perspective how bad Bart's Nightmare is.
Exactly.
Bart's Nightmare, it's not very playable. It's not very approachable. They fixed it with this one.
They
There's
did
still
at least make
a
it.
cornucopia of other issues.
Yeah,
but
they just created a whole nother set of problems.
Yeah.
But while somehow improving on the original.
Would you
the
say it has a
product.
plethora of problems?
Do you know what a plethora is? See.
Buy, rent, or birthday?
I would have rented it, taken it back, disappointed.
This would have been a good rental. I feel like.
It's a fine rental.
Like with practice mode, it's kind of one of those where it's like, okay, I can play all these mini games, and I'm definitely never going to buy this. And also, like, I remember being a kid, and like the way I pitched renting games was, I get to test these games and see if they're good or bad, and if they're bad, I won't buy them. And
If they're bad, we save you money.
that's right.
You know?
It's a win-win, right? I get to play games, you save money. But yeah, I would have rented it and played through all the mini games and then been like, I don't think so.
Yep. You want to see what Flopsy has to say about it?
I do. What do you guys think? Flopsy has to say. What's the star rating? What's the availability, the rarity?
Uncommon. 3 stars.
where I have seen Bart's Nightmare, and that was common. I've never seen this game in the wild. I did not even know about it. So I'll also say uncommon. But I think Bart's Nightmare was that 1.5 or 2 stars?
I think they gave it 2.
2.
2.
I'll give 2.5 stars then.
I think they gave it 3.
I think I'm going with 3. I also, man, I didn't see this in the wild either, but I remember seeing it advertised. I remember seeing the art of Bart with the
Bart art?
The Bart art. I remember seeing the Bart art with a virtual headset. I think it's 3 common is my guess.
3 common. Okay.
Well, according to the Ultimate Nintendo Guide to the SNES Library, 1991 through 1998, by Pat Contry, courtesy of Monster Mold Mike and a shadowy benefactor, Virtual Bart, availability uncommon,
ding,
2.5 stars.
Okay.
Hey, all right.
So there you go,
all
Tyler.
right.
You think that's fair?
Yeah.
Given that it is such a
I'd probably say 2
significant-
stars to 2.5
stars.
stars.
Yeah.
But
Given that it is such a significant improvement over Bart's Nightmare, I'd say on the Flopsy scale of things, sure, it's
Yeah.
fair.
Flopsy scare. Yeah. Yeah.
That's about what I expected.
What do you think you guys would pay for this game if you were to buy it loose?
$38.
38 bucks.
25.
25 bucks. Actual retail value of Virtual Bart for the Super Nintendo loose on average, according to PriceCharting.com at the time of this recording, is $32.67.
Man.
About the average, I think, of y'all's
Missed it
too.
by that much.
Is it worth it?
No.
I don't believe so. I won't be buying this immediately after recording like I do sometimes as a goof.
What would you give for it? $5?
10.
10?
You guys have any achievements?
Yeah, I have a few.
What you got?
My first achievement is he'd have to be a hell of a lot more charming than that Arnold from Green Acres. And he'd have to be a hell of a lot more charming than that Arnold from Green Acres. Free all the pigs and complete the pig factory level without dying.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
It's possible. I seen it.
I seen it.
Pig's a filthy animal.
Pigs are filthy animals. Bacon tastes good. Pork chops taste good. My next achievement is You Will Ride Eternal, shiny and chrome.
Man, I almost did one like that.
And to get You Will Ride Eternal, shiny and chrome, beat the Mad Max level without dying. And
Witness
then
me.
my last achievement is My name is Otto, and I like to get blotto. Which is exactly the same as the achievement I had for Bart's Nightmare, where you repeatedly get hit by Otto in the bus on the Mad Max level. Because that happened to me a lot. Again. That's all I got.
I've only got 2. I've got Futures Made of Virtual Insanity. And unlike that, you roll credits on Virtual Bart because that's fucking insane.
I, again, have to tell our listeners, take 38 minutes of your life, go on YouTube and watch the Virtual Bart long play by Nintendo Complete, and just, you will say at some point, that mad bastard. Go ahead. Sorry.
My next achievement is Spare No Expense. In order to unlock Spare No Expense, buy a sealed, complete, and box copy of Virtual Bart, only to play the Dino Bart minigame.
Mm-hmm. What a terrible idea.
I've got 3. First one is Porksicle. You unlock that when you die from the Frost Gun Clown.
Good one.
Because every time he hits you, you turn blue and you ice over.
And it takes a while for him to kill you.
Yeah,
that gun doesn't do a lot of damage.
At least they balance it out with that level being so fucking long that he just does a little bit of damage.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Second one is Lawn Darts. You unlock that by dying without leaving the starting yard in the Bart's Baby level.
Got that
Just
one.
spearing yourself into the
Got
into
it
the
like
lights.
several times. That's awesome. Lawn darts.
and then road gash. Die 3 times in the post-apocalyptic Mad Max level.
Awesome. Several very good achievements tonight, fellas. Good job.
Tyler,
Yes, Dave.
if you were to give this game a beard, sums up how you feel about it, what kind of beard would you give it?
Did you hear about that lady whose face got ripped off by her monkey?
Yeah, I've actually heard several accounts similar to that.
Yeah.
A guy had his balls ripped off. I hope I didn't take your
Oh,
glasses.
that one too.
There's a whole scene in the movie Nope where people die by chimp.
Ugh. Well, yeah, where it rips your face off, just barely hanging on by the chin. That beard.
Oh, nice. Tyler,
Yes, Dave.
if you would give this game a pair of glasses, sums up how you feel about it. What kind of glasses would you give it?
Glasses, that would be a Virtual Boy, Nintendo's failed virtual goggles that have been sewn onto your face, Hellraiser style, that you cannot escape or take them off.
Shit, why did I pick up this Rubik's Cube? Nice, I love it. So, next episode, the Itchy and Scratchy
Might as
game.
well
Itchy and
get
Scratchy
it done.
That'll
Itchy and
be-
Scratchy.
The last Simpsons Super Nintendo game for us to cover.
Good.
Couldn't be
Good.
bad, right?
No. The one that I definitely didn't know existed
Right.
or have ever seen
Yeah.
or know anything about whatsoever.
I remain hopeful,
I admire your
cautiously
outlook.
optimistic.
Yeah.
They gotta get. I feel like they got it right with Krusty. I didn't hate the game. I liked it.
Oh, where would this fall on your list? Bottom 100, top 100?
I think it's in the same area as Bart's Nightmare, just a little higher. I put it in the bottom 2/3, bottom 200.
Yeah.
This one would be bottom 250, probably.
Yeah.
fair.
That sounds right to me. It's definitely better than Bart's Nightmare in my opinion, but also not a good game.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, what else do we do now? I don't even know. Patreon?
We could talk about Patreon just for a
Our
minute.
theme song being Moves by Sycamore Drive?
Well, I cover that in the little pre-recorded
Oh, there we
thing.
go.
But
Okay.
you could say it if you
Oh,
want.
there we go. That's
You could say whatever
fine.
you want.
No. It's over.
I wasn't ever trying to take it away from you.
It's fine. I've said it
I was
a
trying to
lot.
help.
It's okay. I don't say it anymore. I've said it 700 times.
735 times, actually.
It's a long time to say a thing.
I've only
Say
been,
the line, Tyler.
I've only been doing the post closer for like 4 episodes, so there you have it. Patreon is a thing. We like to take money when it's given to us, and if you'd like to be one of the people that gives us money, you can go to patreon.com/TADPOG or pisstasters.com
Taste the piss.
and donate. You can have access to our bonus content, of which there is a good amount of stuff there, and we're hoping to add more in the near future and some other things we've got planned. I promise we're doing some stuff, working on it in the background. But we do have our list of executive producers. These are the fine folks who donate $20 or more per month to the show, and I'd like to read those names right now, starting with Usurper Grimm, Cousin David Galino, Plinko Nick Price, Cubicle Monkey, Cthusiast Jeff Miners, Master Cycle Baron Kevin Link, Joseph Phillips, Gamebug Prime Nathan Eaton, Matt Gentile, a.k.a. Gentle G, Louisville Correspondent, Princess Consuelo Banana Hammock, Flavor Trick, Taryn Dahl, congratulations on your marriage, Pinball Airplane, Archmage, Chris Edler, we're sorry you couldn't be on this episode, Platinum member Brett Miller, Sandwich Pope Phil Hawkins, Nate from Utah, first-time caller, Drink Smith, Joey Webster, Derek Pope Sandwich, and Cody Phillips. Thank you all so much for your generosity.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
It means a lot.
A lot of names on there. You've read a lot of times.
I have,
It means
and
a lot.
It means a lot that I've read those
Yep.
that list of names. Sometimes more, sometimes less. It happens. We get it, but it's always nice to know that it takes a couple minutes to get through.
A lot of familiar names on that
means
list.
a lot to us, really. So thank you guys so much. And additional thanks to our stalwart, Mr. Puzzles, Backlog Banisher, Dane, for putting our episodes on YouTube every week. Thanks for doing that. That's really cool. Hell yeah. And then I think that's all I got.
Now the Nightmare has a new album out, our very own Dalton.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then I've also been enjoying his short little covers he's doing on TikTok. So I just want to mention that.
I've seen those too. Yeah, those are great.
Got something you want us to plug? Let us know.
I want to plug.
I bet you do. Yeah, I've seen the way you've been looking at me.
Yeah.
Let us know. We'll
Talking
plug
about
it.
pigs and ham.
Pigs.
I'm all worked up. Nitrates.
Oh, salt. Oh, processed meat.
How you guys want to close this out?
That's Pig Bart.
Okay.
So until next time.
I went the squealing route.
You did.
I bet the waveform shows it too.
It does.
Yeah.
Scared me a little.
Good.
I peed some.
It's Simpsons month. You have to be scared. It's the rules.
My underwear are the color of Bart. TADPOG is hosted and produced by Tyler Holland, Dave Moore, and Ian Chandler, and is available wherever fine podcasts are hosted. Have a question or comment for the hosts? Call us at 270-883-2555 and leave us a voicemail. We'll even play it on the show and respond eventually. Want to send us something? You can do that at Tadpog Studios, care of Nicole Nance, P.O. Box 3785, Paducah, Kentucky 42002. Sick of us doing all the talking? You can join in on the conversation by visiting our Discord at bit.ly/tadpogdiscord or tastethepiss.com. Not many things are truly free these days, but our Discord is, and we'd love to see you there. Our theme song is Moves by Sycamore Drive, and a link to that track can be found at the show notes at tadpog.com. Thanks for listening, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcasting platform. We'd really appreciate it. God, I'm so fucking bloated. I ate McDonald's for dinner.
Period.
I did. And I left my Midol at home.
Uh-oh.
I ate McDonald's for dinner, and then for some reason I decided after eating this meal that I would have a chocolate shake.
Yeah.
And now I feel like a gross sack of
Corn syrup.
Corn syrup.
I think I might get some McDonald's.
Partially gelatinated, frozen ice cream beverage, whatever the fuck that was.
Dennis was telling me about these new sauces they got. And
At McDonald's?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think I might get some. I was thinking about getting some nuggies on the way here, but then I was like, that'd be pretty shitty of me to like go a really long time of like not eating McDonald's and then like getting it by myself as opposed to like Henry's so like
He wants some fucking Mickey D's.
he's so over like eating at home.
Yeah.
Like so much so that like, you know how like in grade school you fill out these like surveys and stuff about like who I am and like my favorite color is and like da 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 da. One of them was man, something about tell us about home or what's your home like? And his response was, we used to eat out a lot. Now we don't. We eat at home and I miss it.
I eat out too much. I need to get.
We were eating out every fucking day, man. I mean,
it's like almost like that for us. And I've kind of fallen off the wagon of being good about not eating a bunch of crap, and I've got to get myself back in that mindset because I was doing real good there for a while, and then I said fuck it once, and it was just too easy to say fuck it several times
That's
later.
why I'm worried about like saying fuck it. Like
Yeah.
I really have to think about it. Like with these nuggets, I'm like, well, get some nuggets.
What's a few nuggets? What harm could that do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I've had enough McDonald's chocolate milkshakes for a while, though. I mean, I'm literally like, I feel like I'm about to vomit all over my computer.
Oh, that shit makes me instantly sick.
It's not that I even feel sick. I just feel like there's too much in my belly.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's not
moving. And
right?
I need it to move down.
Quick creep.
Yeah.
What I'm worried about is like going to, because my dad's
In fact,
also.
I should probably drink a little water. Hang on. Go ahead.
My dad's doing a diet, and he had a craving for like a Big Mac and fries, and he went and he got it, and it wasn't good. And I feel like that's the gamble you always take with McDonald's is like, there's a chance the fries are going to be like not the best, or, you know, and it sucks when it's like, I'm going to do it once. When you're going a lot, it's not a big deal because it's like, because I used to get it every day.
Oh, well,
every
try again tomorrow.
Thursday. Right. You know, I used to get it every Thursday coming. And if I got a bad batch of fries, it's like, next Thursday.
I went to the McDonald's. I went in before I came here. I just stopped in and ate inside the restaurant.
Wow.
And I find that to be nice sometimes because they're always empty, and I feel like there's never anyone in there.
Inside one in a long time.
Exactly. Most people haven't. It's It's actually really nice, but tonight it was on point. Like the meal took a little longer to get to me.
Yeah.
Like I was like, maybe they forgot because usually it's McDonald's are pretty quick. The guy, first of all, they do table service now.
They do table service?
You order and they bring it to you
at McDonald's.
At your table at McDonald's, at least at this one.
When is the last time I've been inside a McDonald's?
No, it's crazy. It was like going into McDonald's for the first time.
Yeah, it's like Back to the Future or something.
They have the big panels that you order from,
right,
the screens, and
yeah.
that's neat. And then you take a number and they bring the food to your table. The fries were fresh, hot. The burger was fresh and hot. Everything was just on
have
point.
All the fixins.
Have all the fixins. It was so good. And I was like, I think I'd like to have a milkshake.
They earned themselves an upsell.
Yeah. And then I drank it all on the way here, which isn't far. Part of it is what the milkshake is made of. The other part is how fast I drank it because it was really good, and I gulped it down, and then I'm like, oh, my belly.
I ate it too much pie.
I ate it too much.